What's happening, everybody? We are here at St. Charles Funny Bone with Michael Palascak. Did I nail that or what?
You nailed it.
Well, I heard a lot of people were saying your name because they're like, "Oh, he's coming into town."
Yeah.
And then I'm like, at first you develop this confidence. You're like, "Oh, I know that name."
Yeah.
And then you get a little nervous. You're like, "What if they were mispronouncing the name?"
I hear you. And also sometimes it changes in your brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what do? You just gotta whatever you got off the tip of the tongue, you just roll with it.
Yeah.
Oh, so how's it going? You just did an awesome set tonight.
Thank you. You came for it. That was so nice of you.
Well, I mean, I'm a big comedy fan, and I try to, anybody that's coming on this, I try to make sure that I get a chance to see how they do things. So that way I can talk about it later. So I really like that. You have a real calm style on stage.
Yeah. I always related to that. Like I always tell people when people ask about stand-up, like, who are you around your friends, you know? And I always I just am a little more calm, I think.
You're a calm,
yeah, more
not like the zany all over the place.
Yeah, I've never felt comfortable in that place. I've always been more introverted. I think some comics are very good at like being extroverted and like, hey, what's going on over here, and like very big. And I've always been more like, I'm gonna think about something before I say it and then go from there.
I think it's good.
Yeah, it's whatever it is. Like everyone, I think both are good.
Yeah. What got you into comedy?
I was like I had brothers, like I played sports growing up, and then like you go to college and you're not good enough anymore. And I was also like always wanted to, like ever since second grade.
What sports do you play?
I played football, basketball, and baseball in high school.
Okay.
Yeah, and I went to a small high school, so it wasn't like I was like.
So basically, we were starting at all three varsity.
Oh yeah, by the time football and baseball definitely, and then basketball, someone got hurt, so I played the rest of the season for them, and. It was super fun, and I always wanted to do this, and college was a great place to start. I started doing, like, sketches and acting in college, and then my parents moved to a different city, and I would say that was the biggest thing is that they moved to, like, the Chicago area.
Yeah.
And I didn't know anybody, because normally when you come home from college, you just hang out with your friends, but I didn't know anybody up there, and I always wanted to do stand-up, and I found a book at a bookstore, and in the back of the book, it listed, like, a bunch of different new talent open mic shows, and one of them was like 15 minutes from where my parents had just moved to, and I just signed up and did it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then you just hit the ground running and kept it going?
So I did it 2 times that summer, and then I kept doing like the theater stuff in college, and then the next summer I did it every week, and then when I was once I finished college, that's when I was like every night, all the time, as much as I can.
And then when you finished college, then you were like, what, this college thing isn't working out?
When I finished college?
Oh. You were like, this is my chance? What's the deal?
I think it was like I wanted to enjoy college, and
right.
I wasn't like I was in Cincinnati, and they have a good club, but I didn't want to like leave campus. Like I enjoyed living in the house with my friends and doing stuff on campus.
The college experience.
I wanted the experience, exactly. And so I just did that, and then when I was out of school, I just told my parents that's what I was going to do.
You're just going into comedy?
Yeah, I was just going to do that.
Were they supportive?
They both took turns being supportive. Like when
were they actually supportive, or they were just like being nice?
That's a good question. They're really good at being nice, so they might have just been being nice. But I think they're also supportive. Like,
that's awesome.
When I was in school, my dad was like, you should major in something that you can get a job with. And my mom was like, no, he should do what he loves. And then when I got out of school, my mom was like, well, you got to go get a job too. And my dad was like, well, we already went through this. Like, so I just lived at home with them, did shows at night, and like took like writing classes during the day and
writing classes,
like scripts and stuff, or like improv or acting classes, just stuff.
So any class you could find, you got
into
it?
Yeah. There's like screenwriting stuff in the Chicago area, and I just like learned how to do all of it the best I could. But stand-up was the way that I made a living when I started to. Sorry.
Where were you going to school for the screenwriting
like
stuff?
Second City had some screenwriting classes in IO, so those were like the main places. And then I took some improv classes at Annoyance, and those were really good. And then like there was the acting studio had like some good acting classes in the green room. That's how I learned how to audition for commercials. Yeah. So
how to audition for them?
Yeah, like basically most commercial acting classes are how to audition, because it's like once you get on set, they're just going to tell you what to do. But booking it is like the adventure.
Can you give us a secret audition tip?
For sure. So when you go into the room for a commercial audition and they have the script, like add a word or two, make it sound like yours. Always improvise and play at a commercial audition. And let them tell you like, hey, don't just do the script, because when the commercials, they don't know what the script's really going to be. So just play and be yourself.
Yeah, that's some good advice.
Yeah. So
I'm thinking back to an audition where I did not do that.
Yeah.
And it sounded terrible in my opinion.
Yeah, it's always good to sound really good, no matter whether it's what they're looking for or not. If you can't do what they're looking for, do you, and that way you're always them in their mind. Yeah.
I should, man. If I would have listened to this podcast 15 years ago, it could have changed my life.
Yeah, I mean, but then we wouldn't be able to do this podcast.
Right, that would be ruined. So we're here.
You would just know that.
You just witnessed destiny, guys.
But like with sitcom auditions, they say you don't improvise because they put so much time and effort into that pilot and so much went through to do that you want to be able to hit everything the way they wrote it, but also still be really awesome. Yeah. So like sitcoms a little different. But movies, I heard, are more like commercials where it's like you can play around a little more with movies. Yeah.
And are you trying to shift more towards the acting side? Are you pretty solid in the stand-up?
You know, it's really funny. When I started, I remember talking to one of my friends, and he was like, I just want to do stand-up. And I was like, well, I just want to do this so I can act. Because in my mind, I've kind of felt like that was a harder thing, so it was better. Not harder to do, it's just more exclusive. Like there's just less jobs as an actor that pay money versus comedian. But after doing it for so long, and not to say failing, but not getting anything acting-wise, stand-up's been the thing that I've done, and everything seems to be being thrown into that. Like it's all just, how do I do shows and have people come see me? So if acting helps out with that, that's fine. And I feel better about doing it because of the steps I took to get here, but it's not like that's the goal anymore. It's just to sort of do shows and have people want to come see them.
Well, you're doing an awesome job.
Thank you.
Your social media is killing it.
Thanks. Yeah, I just started doing that.
Oh, now that we're mentioning this, I wanted to ask you anyways.
Yeah.
The lettering on your videos, I love how you do the lettering.
Thank you.
Do you do that?
So on Instagram, the captions, they do it themselves.
Oh, okay.
And you can change it. That's just the one I picked. That's what I love about social media these days is like you can just make choices. Like I'm not a like whatever it is when people know how to draw stuff.
Tech genius.
Or like
graphic designer.
I'm not a graphic designer, but you go on Instagram, you just pick some stuff, and all of a sudden that's you for that. And it's like I think people like it that you're doing it yourself. I think they can tell, and it's all part of that world. So I just pick the one that I like and that looks cool and go from there.
And do you just dump out whatever? Do you try to find chunks that are more in the moment type stuff? Or you? From what I saw, you're putting out real material.
Yeah. So when I first started, I had a dry bar and then my last album, and I had the video for both of those. So I picked like the things I thought would work the best. And then once I got some followers, now I'm just like basically going through those two things until I need different stuff.
Are you on TikTok?
Yeah, I'm on TikTok too.
Nice.
Yeah.
How's the TikTok going? Because what you're doing, I see, looks like you would really hit the TikTok algorithm and punch through.
So when I started, TikTok took off a little quicker than Instagram.
Yeah.
And then they're both doing well, but Instagram kind of exploded last month. It kind of got a ton more on Instagram.
Oh, interesting.
So I'm like double on Instagram now than TikTok, and I think part of it's that Instagram you can post pictures too and stories, so there's just more ways to interact. And TikTok is a freaking crazy world. Like,
oh yeah,
the only people that see you are the people that might like your stuff. It's just like, it's. I don't understand it, and I like it. I like it all, but it's crazy. It's like the Wild West of social media.
Yeah. I got robbed out of a Stagecoach a week ago. It was bad on TikTok. That was crazy.
What?
It was like the Wild West. It
yeah.
was so. I was like, this is so much like the Wild West.
Well, here's the thing. Here's what they people put videos out there, and all of a sudden they just pop up in your For You page.
Oh yeah.
And it looks like those people know what they're talking about, but then you like listen to it and you're like, they don't know what they're talking about. Just a bunch of people listen to the whole part of it, and now I'm following what they're saying. Like this is people could take over the world if it wasn't for the other guy who's saying the opposite thing. That's getting just as many followers. So in the way, it's going to save the world, I think.
And some of those people that are on it, like, they got these badass business suits, right?
Yeah.
And they sound slick when they talk. Yep. And you're like, damn, this guy is smart as shit. Yep. I should do whatever he says. And then he's like, and then you got to dump all your money in Bitcoin. You're like, I'm not listening to this guy. That's how it,
That's
like,
how
wow,
TikTok goes. That's
exactly
right.
I got to find a better guru. This guy is playing games, I think.
Yeah.
There was a guy that I used to, for like business conventions. I would go out to these business conventions and he'd show up. He would have a video camera on him. He'd have his own makeup person, and he would do this. And I swear, like, one, you don't need that. I mean, I guess you need it, but I think he would do it just to create attention.
Yeah.
And then he would video all these people reacting to the attention he's getting and make himself look more powerful. That's I don't know. That was it was an interesting play, and I've really seen his stuff explode. So maybe that's what we need to be doing.
I mean, I don't know.
All
I
this
think
hard work, you just need a makeup person and a lighting guy.
Well, that is one thing I also like about TikTok and Instagram. Like, I've definitely, especially in the beginning, because you don't know what's going to work, you can overthink like how it looks or how you crop it. But it seems like the things that do the best are like it is on a live show. The jokes that are the funniest, the things that people relate to or making people think about. It's really about the content.
Yeah.
It seems like that's what really gets, at least for my stuff, gets the most likes. I'm sure if you're a very good looking person, that might matter more. But like, it really is the content that for me that drives people to watch it more.
Yeah, I don't think that I'm bringing them into the looks department
Yeah.
right now. I tipped the scale like 280 this week. Damn.
Well, you look like a good 280.
You're looking fit. Are you on a workout plan?
I work out. I have a son, so
Okay.
I carry him.
Oh, okay.
And so that I think that's how I get some. But when I'm on the road is when I just like do like, I don't know, stuff on YouTube. I just type something in.
And just
Lit method.
Bodyweight workouts?
Yeah, there's something called low impact training method, and I'll just do
Low
like
impact training.
lit. So you can get like some cardio in and not like hurt yourself.
That sounds like a workout program that you can do shots while you're doing it.
I mean, you could, but you might fall over eventually.
Lit workout.
Yeah.
This is really lit. This is so crazy.
Yeah.
So tell me something when you're you're crafting new material on a regular, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you ever have roadblocks? Do you have any writing tips to keep things going, to keep the juices flowing? Do you have anything?
I got a thing called Aqua Notes, which is a notepad that you can put in your shower, and I found that is a cool place to think about stuff.
Huh.
So I don't spend a ton of time in the shower, but if you're doing something else, sometimes it lets your brain, you can think about jokes and then just write. It helps out with tags. I think like we're fleshing out a joke is like thinking about them in the shower. And then for coming up with jokes, I used to do a lot of free writing and then go back and read it. But now I just sort of like think of something and put it in my phone and then just try to work on it later. Just sort of sit with it.
Oh, wow.
And I don't really, I think sometimes jokes either need to take more time or just to go away later. Mm-hmm. But I think everything has a place at some point.
Yeah, your set tonight was fluid.
Oh, thank you.
Or it felt like it to me.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So is that a bunch of different pieces that you put together?
So it's kind of like all the stuff that hasn't been on an album, because as a stand-up, that's just like a divider line. I feel like this is all new stuff, and then some stuff that's not been on TikTok or Instagram, and then some brand new stuff where I'm like, well, I have to work on something new.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's just sort of a mix for me. But the main goal, which I have to remind myself, is just to do a good show for them.
Yeah. You did it.
Thanks.
That's good.
Thanks.
So you said, you've got these different mixes that so what kind of tip do you have for making it all flow? Because it really seemed, I'm not saying that the subject matter, it's not like you wrote a story that it just all tied in, but it just seemed very conversational and piece into piece. And, it didn't seem like there was a lot of hesitation and pauses.
Yeah, I found that's a very good point. Like, it's more about you as a performer being comfortable with the order than it necessarily like having this logical story flow or anything.
Right.
I think as long as you give yourself the permission at a stand-up show, people are just going to go along with you. And then the more you do it, you can be like, oh, well, actually this fits over here and this fits over here. And then you get off stage like, I totally forgot that part and that part will go there. And just being easy on yourself and letting it develop is why we do stand-up. It's not something you're going to do overnight and then put it in a movie. Like we're not like we're filming a movie where you're just filming a shot and you're going to edit it later. This is just this one, and then tomorrow we get to do one, and the next day and next day.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How many years have you been doing stand-up now?
So I started, my first time ever was in 2002, so it'll be almost 20 years in the summer.
Okay.
But I like those first 2 years were just kind of here and there, so 18 to 20 years.
18 to 20 years.
Yeah.
I would say that's a wild one. So they say 10 years is the magic number. After 10, you're official, like a pro, master, whatever you want to call it.
I feel like there's a point where you can be good right at the very beginning, and then there's a point where, for me, I had to sort of get over the fact that the fun wasn't necessarily going to come from the audience. It was going to come from me just enjoying the shows more. Like, you can get kind of bogged down in all like the details of stand-up, and then at some point you go over that. Maybe that's at 10 years where you're just like, oh, I just really enjoy it now. And I think that's the most important thing, no matter how good you are, is just to really enjoy it, because that's going to make everyone else enjoy it, and then you'll do it more and then get better. And yeah. So, but I feel like now definitely better than I was at 10 years, and hopefully that continues. But it doesn't seem to matter as much as just sort of enjoying it and doing the best I can. Like, I think early on I was like, I got to get better. But now I'm like, oh, it's a long run if you keep doing it. Like you can get better for a long time.
Yeah.
And the longer you go without getting something that makes you famous, it seems like the more you get better because you're not bogged down by tons of other projects.
Do you feel? I feel like you get a blend of people in the stand-up world, from guys that are doing the work and they're just focused on the craft, right? And they're focused, like they're taking notes and they're reading books and they're performing and they're hitting mics and networking and everything. To all the way to the people that aren't doing any of that, but they think they're going to be on Netflix.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What do you think? Like, what do you think for you? Did you have like an idea of, hey, I'm going to do these specials when you were you thinking that when you started?
When I started, I just knew I had to go up every day according to what like Jerry Seinfeld said. So I was one of those guys for sure that was like, and because I was like living at home for free and I didn't feel bad, but I was like, well, this is going to work. So I was one that
this is going to work?
Yeah.
So at the beginning, you were like, this is going to be a thing.
Oh, yeah. And I didn't do well in the beginning. It wasn't like I killed on stage. It was just like, I know I'm going to do it. And I think part of it was how much I failed in sports. I just knew that that's part of it.
So when you say, I know I'm going to do it,
Yeah.
you mean you're going to like be putting out specials and be on television? And
I knew I wanted to be on TV. And then one of my friends who was in Chicago for a little bit, Tommy Donegan, who was a sales guy.
At that age?
Well, he was all about Letterman, and I was like, oh, that's something that I could do too. Like, so I think having him do everything ahead of me was like, oh, that's how you do it.
Oh,
so I
okay.
definitely knew I wanted to like do stand up and make a living doing it, and be on TV and do the specials. But I didn't. It became much more clear when I got to see somebody else do it first.
Oh,
And
so he had like a pathway.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like your imagination.
Yeah, it wasn't like I had to like. He was at open mics with me, and then he was doing it, so it made it very clear. And I think now,
and he's explaining the process.
well, he would always talk about it, and he was very reverent towards stand-up. He didn't necessarily want to do acting or writing; he just wanted to do stand-up, and so that made it clear to me like this is a job that you can do like that. And but I think from the point of like I knew it would work was like I just knew this was going to be my job, and I always wanted to do it. And yeah, I felt very lucky to have that life option actually.
Have that life, that comic life.
Yeah.
Going through Second City, was that something? I've been up there a few times, and you go up and you see everyone performing on stage, and everything looks borderline picture perfect.
Yeah.
Even crowd interaction is ridiculous. Is there a lot of behind the scenes drama?
That's a good question. I only went through classes there, and I got to sort of play around in their free improv set. I imagine because as a stand-up, you're just working with yourself, but those 6 people are together the whole time, and sometimes the director isn't the person that's very good. And so for sure, I imagine for sure there's drama. But when you do the same show every night and 300 people are coming out every night, like you're going to do a good show. Like they're the most talented people. Like those jobs are so coveted. They're probably some of the most talented people in Chicago. So
right.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. There's definitely some stuff.
What do you have any tips for any young comics out there listening that are aspiring to perfect the craft, hone the craft?
Yeah, I would say there's like a couple different things. First thing is to really enjoy the process and find ways to be happy as a person, because it seems like to me things have always come to me when I'm at the place where things are good. And then I found a lot of success writing and doing shows and trying to be myself as much as I could. So I think those are the things, and take advantage of the things that are coming about now. Like when I started, there was like social media, and that's grown to this thing. So what's the next thing that's going to grow to? But don't feel the pressure to like jump in it or throw all your stand-up online, but just know what it is and, have a lot of fun. I don't know. I'm not famous on some level, but not like...
Yeah, well, there's levels to this, and here's the thing: is you don't have to be like the pinnacle guy. You just have to be a little bit higher on the food chain to teach some of these young bucks like me.
Oh, for sure, yeah, yeah. And I'm very grateful for where I am, and I know that it took whatever it took to get there. I just know like there's other places I can go too.
Oh yeah,
and I don't necessarily know how to do that.
Give what you got.
Yeah. So I would say write a lot, do a lot of shows, and try to be yourself. Yeah.
Write a lot, do a lot of shows, and try and be yourself.
That's what I asked Chad Daniels one time what he thinks about before he goes on stage, and he said he just tries to be the most like himself on stage as he can. And I always thought that was pretty valuable because that's something I can always do. And as a comic, sometimes I'm trying to make someone laugh, so that might change. And I think the way to get the biggest laugh is to just rely on who I am and the things that happen to me. the richest, longest, biggest laugh. Realist.
All right, here's a question I got for you. Is this you're an actor and a comedy person?
Yeah.
Someone said that I don't even know who told me this, but someone said that comedy is the art of becoming your truest self.
Yeah.
And he said acting is the exact opposite.
Oh, wow.
It's like you're not trying to be yourself. You're trying to be this other person all the time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I would say that comedy, you can do that, and I think that works for me. But I think acting, you also have to know what's you that works for here, because that's how you're going to get the roles you get, is because you're 100% that person, especially in the beginning. Mm-hmm. I think if you're doing like at the Oscar level celebrity stuff, you can be someone that's completely different. But in the beginning, you're going to play stuff that's like you as a stand-up.
Like when Sylvester Stallone played Rocky.
Yeah, I would say that was probably a little close to at least people he knew or who he was.
Something like that. Well, thanks for coming on.
Thanks.
This podcast was brought to you by 420ID for all of your medical marijuana needs. All you got to do is go to 420ID and they will take care of you. That's it. He's going to be killing it all weekend long at the Funny Bones St. Charles. And make sure to come out, check him out. Follow you on
Instagram at Michael Palascak.
That's Michael, like you would normally spell Michael, and Palascak. Very tricky. We'll throw a pickup or something like that. But that's it. And thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Nice job.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, 22 probably. 20-ish. Nice.